Yeah, I was interested to watch Trump develop as a speaker during the campaign. It was, I'm quite certain this is the only campaign in definitely in the television age where you could get basically every network that was broadcasting news live go with that candidate, knowing in advance that that candidate didn't have a speech in front of him. It was just him, and he spoke from notes. And he started toward the end of the campaign, I guess, reading speeches, but he sure didn't do that very much. And I was really struck during the campaign at how far. I mean, he got all the way to the nomination basically without reading speeches. Nobody has done that in our lifetimes until him. And now, of course, he's reading a lot more speeches, and they, as I said before, I don't know what the process is, but whatever it is, it works for them. And the speech to Congress, I thought he sounded very much like a president. There was so much commentary beforehand. What's this going to be like? Is he going to come in and pull some notes out of it, throw it on the rostrum with the assembled Congress of the United States and the Supreme Court sitting there, the diplomatic corps, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the whole nation watching. But no, he didn't. He did not treat that casually. It sounded like a president. I used to love it when I would sit down with my friend George Elzey, who had written for Truman. All he wanted to talk about was what I was doing. And my interest was in pulling information from him about what happened in the 1940s. And I said, George, all you want to talk about is the 43rd president. All I want to talk about is the 33rd president.
Well, thank you so much. So now we can go into our Q&A session.
Thanks for coming. Any advice on ums and ahs? And also, if you detect you're starting to lose your audience or something like that, you see eyes glazing over, any way to, re-navigate on the fly while giving a speech?
Okay, there was your You just you really have to not become self-conscious. Just be yourself. It's going to happen when you're speaking from notes, just off the cuff. You have to listen to yourself. I remember reading that Richard Nixon did not ever watch himself on TV because he was afraid of becoming self-conscious. And this happens. This happens to people. But on the other hand, I have to guess that John Kennedy did watch himself. And this was a person who really, at the dawn of the television age, became very, very adept at that. I would like to know, I would be interested in knowing what other presidents did, what other successful candidates for lesser offices did. And there was a story somewhere about Reagan. He was in the Oval Office, and he was so comfortable with cameras, right? He'd been a movie actor for 30 years and a broadcaster, and had also done live TV in his 40s, which was a fairly new venue. When Ronald Reagan was 40 years old, live TV was just really hitting it. Anyway, Reagan is preparing for his to give a speech to the nation, and there's a monitor, and the monitor was facing him so that he could see what the camera saw, and he would glance over at it. He wouldn't look at it during his speech, but this was part of his preparation. The monitor would come on. He knew he was about to go live, and he was prepared. And the story was that he was at his desk, and he's got his speech, and the lights are on, and he's looking at the camera. He's familiar, but he's looking over at the monitor. There's nothing on there. And he's just kind of looking over. The monitor's black. Nothing. The time is ticking away. Finally, it comes on, and Reagan sees himself on the monitor live, and he goes, "Oh, there he is." You have to, it's nothing wrong with being sort of aware of how you look and how you sound. And I think this is how the best, and Reagan was one of the best, become good. So if a person is really, really concerned about verbal tics or whatever, I guess the advice I would give would be to